Good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. This is Kevin Moon from God's Country. It's time for your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's weather. Now, here's my friend, Dr. Don.
Good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. Welcome to your Sunday. Coming up on this morning's edition of your primetime forecast, we're going to tell you about a cold front that is moving across Alabama, which may bring us some scattered showers from time to time today. We are keeping a very close watch on Tropical Storm Ian down in the Caribbean, which is expected to become a major hurricane in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and that could potentially affect our weather across East Alabama and West Georgia as we head toward the latter part of next week. That's all coming up in this morning's edition of your primetime forecast on Sunday morning, September 25th, 2022. From Dr. Don's Weather, from the Alpha Weather Center, Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent. Don't forget about the 14th annual Fall on Main Street Festival in downtown Roanoke, scheduled for next Saturday. Beginning to be a little bit concerned about the weather, but it's still early. So let's just continue with our plans, and we'll have to fine-tune the forecast as we get toward the middle of next week. It's going to be a lot of fun if we can get this thing to happen in downtown Roanoke. It'll be next Saturday, starts at 8:30, runs until 1:30 in the afternoon. Lots of arts and crafts and vendors, and we are planning on having the Dr. Don Road Show there. We're going to be giving away some T-shirts and just hanging out with our local folks and having a good time with you next Saturday in downtown Roanoke, hosted by the Randolph County Chamber of Commerce. All right, don't forget to hit that link at the top of this video so that you get that cost-free, no-obligation insurance quote from Jamie Dukas, and then you'll become eligible to win some great prizes here on Dr. Don's Weather. And let's don't waste any time. Head over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, it's free, and click that little bell so that when we go live to tell you about Ian, you'll be guaranteed to get that notification that Dr. Don's Weather is live with weather information. So here's the deal. This is Tropical Storm Ian as of 5 a.m. this morning. Center located at 14.9 north, 78.8 west. Maximum sustained winds are 50 miles per hour. Movement is to the west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. We expect Ian to continue to move to the west, turning more to the northwest over the next 24 hours, and then becoming a major hurricane just as it clips the westernmost tip of Cuba. And typically that, of course, that's a mountainous region. Typically that would cause or wreak havoc on a tropical storm, but I think it's so far to the west out there on the western tip of Cuba, I'm not really sure that Cuba's going to have much of an effect on Ian, and won't be over land very long at all. Merge back into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. By 2 a.m. Wednesday morning, we're looking at a major hurricane, probably Category 3. And then as it approaches the northern Florida or northwest Florida coast there along the Panhandle, the long-range intensity guidance right now is suggesting that it will start losing its intensity after about 2 a.m. Thursday morning, and for now, the forecast guidance has it going from a Category 3 back down to Category 1 before making landfall somewhere up there in the Big Bend area of the northwest Florida Panhandle. And then continuing up into southern Georgia to a point somewhere between Tifton and Albany, and then maybe curving a little bit back to the due north or northwest, somewhere up around Atlanta, maybe by Saturday night into Sunday. Okay, if that were to happen, again, folks, understand that the confidence level here past about Wednesday is only about 40% at this time. Now, up until Wednesday, I think they've got the track down pretty good. I'd even go so far as to say we were probably looking at a 60 to 70% confidence level on the track until Wednesday. And then after that, there's a question mark because we're dealing with multiple different weather factors that will influence the ultimate track of this storm. But let's just assume that this track is correct. We're talking landfall somewhere in the Big Bend area around 2 a.m. Friday. Would likely be up into central or middle Georgia by 2 a.m. Saturday. Now, that would keep East Alabama and West Georgia on the western side of the storm, which is where you want to be if you have to be close to one of these storms. So the worst weather is always to the right, or in the right quadrant of normally the northeast right quadrant of the storm. But still, there would be enough wind and enough rain even over there on the western side to cause problems across East Alabama and West Georgia if this track is correct. And then by the time we hit Sunday morning, late Saturday night, Sunday morning, would be up in North Georgia, maybe Northeast Georgia. We'll show you that on the spaghetti models in just a few moments. But the glaring message here this morning is the first half of this track I feel pretty good about. The second half of the track, there are still questions there. I think by the time we get to tomorrow morning and certainly Tuesday morning, we'll have a much better fix on exactly where we think this storm is going to make landfall. You see the cone of uncertainty. That's all of those areas inside those thick white lines there where you see the little dots all over the place. That means that that's the margin of error on this track. The storm could track anywhere inside of that hatched area. And the bias right now is to the right or to the east. That's good news for East Alabama and West Georgia, but you can't go to the bank on that just yet. The storm literally could track anywhere within that white hatched area. So we're going to watch this real close for you. There are a couple of other shots I want to show you. Here's the spaghetti model. And again, what this does, it takes data from multiple different medium and long-range models and plots it for you. Right now, the GFS has got it going back over there toward Panama City and Pensacola. That's what we call an outlier. That one is way to the left or way to the west. And then you'll notice some of the blue lines to the right, which still has it coming in over Tampa, and that's been the general consensus now for about 3 or 4 days, but that's way to the right, so we'll call that an outlier as well. So what you want to do is focus on all of those models that are grouped right there in the middle. That is the highest probability of where this storm is going to go at the moment. And you see that it brings, most of those models are bringing it in right there in the Big Bend area, and then right up across Albany, Georgia, right up I-75 into Atlanta, and then right up 985 or 400 up into Northeast Georgia. If this track verifies, that's not going to be good for folks up in Atlanta Metro and North. I think it would be far enough to the east that you wouldn't see tropical sustained winds over in East Alabama and West Georgia, but right along that track and just to the east of that track you would. So on this given scenario, places like Albany, Macon, Atlanta, Roswell, Marietta, even up into Northeast Georgia, Gainesville, up into Blairsville, back over toward Helen, Georgia. Those areas would get the most effect from this. Of course, it would be a tropical storm by the time it got that far north. But we do remember some very strong tropical storms up here in Northeast Georgia. Irma being one of the ones that I remember the most. And we had a lot of damage up here from those tropical storm winds. So something to watch. Not time to pull the trigger on preparation just yet. But if we have a track that's similar to this by this time tomorrow, I think it's time for inland folks to start paying attention and start preparing for the possibility of long duration power outages and maybe some damage. So let's all watch this together over the next 24 hours, and then we can start making plans if we still have a similar track to this by tomorrow morning. So So let's head over to our next stop this morning, and that is going to be our current conditions at the East Alabama Bee Company in 5 Points, Alabama. Mr. Jeff Monroe. Currently 58 degrees. The high temperature yesterday was 80. We do have cloudy skies in the area. Wind is out of the south-southwest, gusting to about 1 mile per hour. 91% humidity. That'll increase as we go throughout the morning hours as rain is on the way. Barometric pressure 30.02. Officially so far, no rain at the rain gauge at the East Alabama Bee Company. Sunrise this morning, 6:30. And the sun sets this evening at 6:35 p.m. We're expected to go to 83 this afternoon in Roanoke. That may be a little optimistic because we're going to go mostly cloudy here pretty quick, and then we've got some light rain moving in. 81 this afternoon in Ashland. Lineville 81, Wedowee 82. Ranburne goes to 80. Rockford at 85 this afternoon. And Pine Mountain will top out at 85 degrees this afternoon. Here's your 6-day forecast from the Alpha Weather Center. Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent, will give you a 30% chance of showers. We do have a cold front moving in that will bring us scattered showers and maybe even a rumble of thunder from time to time. Coverage will not be that much, and we're not looking at very heavy rainfall. And some of you won't see much more than just cloudy skies. But you have a 30% chance of showers. 83 will be the high. Again, that may be a tad bit optimistic. And then we go down to 60 this evening. We'll hold on to a 20% chance of rain through about midnight. Understand these showers that are moving in this morning are running way out ahead of the actual cold front, so we could have more scattered showers develop later this afternoon, and they could last into the evening. Now, a lot of moisture will hang around tomorrow morning, so as the sun comes up, we may have fog to deal with. 81 will be the high on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday look to be beautiful days. Temperatures in the mid-70s, upper 70s. You can't ask for much better than that this time of year. And then as we approach Thursday, we start the day mostly sunny. I think maybe clouds will be on the increase Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening. And then the big question out there on Friday. Now, I know that a lot of high schools are going to be watching this very closely in anticipation of the approach of Ian. And I started to say Ivan, and it came out Ian. Ian is what we're looking for here. And I'm afraid we're going to get to know that name very well over the next week or so. So I know a lot of folks are going to be watching this for planning purposes for next week. High school football Friday night. We've got outdoor festivals next weekend. First weekend of October. Big ball game. Big college ball games next weekend. So the best information I can give you at this point is let's watch this together for the next 24 hours or so, and just know that it is certainly possible that we could see some high school football games moved from Friday night back to Thursday. It's a little premature to start thinking or actually making those plans at this moment. But again, if we have a similar track or the same track by this time tomorrow, it might be time to go ahead and at least make plans to have changes like that. And then if we still have the same thing Tuesday, then some of those decisions should probably go ahead and be made. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Big question mark out there on Friday, even into Saturday for East Alabama and West Georgia. Southern Union State Community College Live Doppler HD radar, and this is what I'm talking about. There's your precipitation that's moving into Alabama, and you can see it's really, really light and basically along and north of I-20, and that rain is actually kind of fading away. It's evaporating as it moves off to the east, just some very light showers. The heavier rains over there in West Alabama, north of Tuscaloosa, moving through the Columbus area, and then you see some showers and thunderstorms back over in Mississippi. They're just south of Oxford, moving off to the east, southeast. I'll zoom out, and you can see the cold front is way up here in portions of Kansas, moving back up across Missouri and up into Indianapolis, and that's the actual cold front itself. It will continue sliding to the south and southeast, and as you can see, there are multiple areas of showers and thunderstorms that are developing out ahead of that line, and all of that will generally push toward the southeast as we go throughout the day today. So let's go down here into the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean and take a look at the latest track on Ian. And you can see the tropical storm Ian down there. Maximum sustained winds at this hour at 51 miles per hour. Motion is 13 miles per hour to the west. We expect a gradual turn to the northwest as we go throughout the day. Again, the intensity forecast guidance is suggesting that we bump up to Category 4 just after it leaves the western tip of Cuba and then into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico as a Category 4, and then degrading to a Category 3 and down to a 1 by the time it makes landfall somewhere in the Big Bend area of Florida. But again, folks, let me caution you, anything past Cuba, confidence level is very low right now. We're talking about exact track of the storm and the guidance as far as intensity is concerned. I got to tell you, it would be rare to see a hurricane make it to status 3 or Category 3 and then fall to a Category 1 just before landfall. Because you've got to understand the Gulf waters are very, very warm, and they've been pretty much untouched this year. We haven't had any major storms in the Gulf of Mexico, so I got to tell you, the conditions are prime out there in the Gulf of Mexico. The only thing is the waters do get very shallow as we head toward the coast here in Florida, so that may be one thing the models are looking at. But you know, I wouldn't count on being at Category 1 at landfall right now. And again, it could be anywhere between Mobile and south of Tampa where this thing makes landfall. This is the best guess right now based off historical records and data and the information that we have right now. And again, like I said, if we have this same track this time tomorrow morning, then we can start doing some serious planning as we head toward the possibility of dealing with a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico mid to latter part of next week. Don't forget to follow us over on Twitter. DSTREN1040 is the handle. We broadcast all of our weather information on Twitter, just as we do on Facebook, YouTube, and at DrDonWX.com, where you can help support us by clicking on that donate button. We appreciate that. We need all the help we can get, so please consider supporting us here on Dr. Don's Weather. If you're on Facebook, we'd love to get those Facebook stars, and be sure that you like us on Facebook. Share us with your friends and ask your friends to share with their friends so we can get as many folks as possible watching us as we head into next week with the possibility of having to deal with some pretty significant weather across the southeastern United States. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll do all of this again tomorrow morning. I'll give you the latest on Ian, so I hope you make your plans to join us. Have a fantastic Sunday, and I'll talk to you in the morning. Bye now.